Shooting unpleasant scenes is a part of the job of Hollywood actors, but there are always film moments that went so far that the stars really regret them in retrospect. In this video, we will show you 10 violent film scenes which the actors would have preferred never to have filmed afterwards. You can expect actors who hurt themselves unnecessarily, a woman whose entire career was determined by a scene, or a star who has not even looked at his most famous film scene out of shame. It's going to be very entertaining, so stay tuned here at Wonderlane. We start with this scene from Quentin Tarantino's 2015 western The Hateful Eight, which won numerous film awards. In one scene, the bounty hunter John Ruth, played by Burt Reynolds, snatches the instrument out of the hand of the female outlaw Daisy Domergue, who has just played an old folk song on the guitar, and smashes it with all his strength. Jennifer Jason Leigh, who embodies the outlaw, screams in horror. The scene was exactly the same in the script. Jennifer Jason Leigh's horror, however, was not acted, but real. In fact, the guitar was supposed to be replaced by a movie prop before it was smashed. But since that didn't happen, Burt Reynolds dismantled a real guitar from 1860 into its component parts. It was not only worth $40,000, but also irreplaceable. To this day, Burt Reynolds deeply regrets having destroyed this unique piece. As a consequence, the museum from which the guitar came no longer lends out instruments to film productions. Next, we come to a scene from the comedy Virgin, Male Looking For, in which a 40-year-old nerd is looking for a girlfriend. Actor Seth Rogen, known from funny movies like Pineapple Express or Bad Neighbors, embodies the best friend of the main character here. As one is used to from Seth Rogen, there are of course also very crude jokes in this comedy, which often go below the belt. Although the actor did not stop there in his later films and was even nominated for the MTV Movie Award, there is nevertheless a scene that went too far even for him and that he would prefer to undo in retrospect. In this scene, he is playing the video game Mortal Kombat with his buddy when the question, "Do you know why I know you're gay?" is asked. This is followed by minutes of sayings that violently discriminate against homosexuals. Seth Rogen later emphasized that he would never shoot such a scene again and that he doesn't want people to feel bad when they see his films. The next scene comes from the movie Rocky IV, part of the famous boxing movie series starring Sylvester Stallone. However, it was not the action star himself who regretted a scene here afterwards, but the actor Carl Weathers, who embodies Rocky's mentor Apollo Creed in the movie. More precisely, the scene is a boxing match between Apollo Creed and the evil antagonist Ivan Drago. Actor Dolph Lundgren, who portrays Drago, pushes Weathers into the ropes in the ring here. Because Weathers didn't like being pushed so hard, he had a knee-jerk reaction and gave Lundgren a real punch afterwards. But the action star didn't want to take that and knocked his acting colleague out with a punch of his own. Carl Weathers angrily left the set after he regained consciousness, and the production of the film was delayed by 4 days. The actor learned in this scene that you definitely shouldn't make Dolph Lundgren angry. Moreover, he later regretted this scene for 2 reasons. First, of course, he was in a lot of pain, and secondly, he regretted his unprofessional behavior at the time. Let's move on to actress Margot Robbie in the film Suicide Squad. Even though this superhero film has made her much more famous, there is one scene in Suicide Squad that Margot Robbie still regrets having filmed. The scene in question is the one in which Harley Quinn, as portrayed by her, drops herself into a vat of chemicals that are supposed to turn her skin into a Joker white color. Of course, the liquid used was not really dangerous, yet Margot Robbie described this scene afterwards as the worst thing she has ever shot. The liquid entered all her orifices. She could hardly breathe and she could hardly see anything but white the whole time. The shooting of this scene was a truly traumatic experience for the actress, and she deeply regrets having taken part in it to this day. We continue with the probably most famous James Bond actor. Although the role as a British secret agent in the service of Her Majesty brought him a lot of money and prestige, and he played it a total of 6 times from 1962, the actor regretted all the scenes in which James Bond seduces women with his charm in a very questionable way. He always had to mime a fierce macho man who makes lewd remarks to women and shows a behavior that definitely no hero would have in a movie nowadays. In this scene, for example, he surprises a woman in the bathtub, and when she asks him to give her something to wear, he merely hands her shoes and then sits down on a chair to watch her undressed. Sean Connery's hatred for his character, by the way, went so far that he later said in an interview that he would kill James Bond if he ever met him in real life. For a completely different reason, however, the actor and father of Charlie Sheen, Martin Sheen, regretted this scene from the 1979 anti-war film Apocalypse Now, which is now considered to be an important film classic. The character Captain Willard, embodied by Sheen, gets very drunk in a hotel room and then destroys everything in the room. Although the scene was very well received by the audience, it is not well remembered by Martin Sheen. More precisely, in no memory. In preparation for the scene, the actor actually drank so much that the next day he could not remember the shooting. Sheen was so embarrassed that he never even watched the scene and regrets his condition on the set to this day. Next up is actor Sir Ian McKellen, best known as the Wizard Gandalf from the Lord of the Rings films. While he enjoyed playing in the Lord of the Rings series, he regretted his appearance in The Hobbit, an unexpected journey even while it was still being filmed. The reason for this was modern technology. While the Lord of the Rings movies were filmed with many actors and props on great locations, Ian McKellen had to play his scenes for The Hobbit mostly alone in front of green screens and pretend that his shooting partners were around. At one point, McKellen sadly broke down on the set and said that this way of making movies didn't work for him at all and that he didn't become an actor to work like this. Next, we come to this pool scene from the 2009 comedy He Just Doesn't Like You. The film was one of the first big commercial hits for Scarlett Johansson, who was an upcoming star at the time. Her seductive appearance in this scene, nevertheless, gave her a reputation as a hot chick and sex symbol, so she was mainly cast only for appropriate roles. Scarlett Johansson, who is a convinced feminist, did not like this image from the beginning. Even worse, for her, was that the reputation she had because of this pool scene even made sure that she didn't get roles she really wanted. For example, director David Fincher didn't cast her because she was too sexy for him, and so it's no wonder that Scarlett Johansson regretted the pool scene and is now a committed campaigner against the objectification of women. Actor Denzel Washington also took part in a movie scene that he regrets. This is the showdown of the 2014 film The Equalizer, in which the two-time Oscar winner fights his evil adversaries in a dark warehouse where the sprinkler system is running. This looks very spectacular for the audience, but was hell for Denzel Washington, as he later said in an interview. The scene was shot over 3 days, and on each of those days the actor had to be sprinkled by the sprinkler system for 13 hours at a time, while the entire rest of the shooting team was protected by raincoats and umbrellas. The conditions during the shoot were almost reminiscent of torture and thus ensured that the Hollywood star regrets the scene to this day. Last but not least, we would like to introduce you to a scene that endangered the actor completely unnecessarily and should never have been shot that way. Burt Reynolds starred in numerous action-adventure movies and comedies in the 70 seconds and 80 seconds and was one of the most popular and best-paid actors of that time. Since he had an image as a tough guy, he insisted on going down a waterfall by himself in a canoe during the shooting of the adventure movie when dying. Everyone is first. The director had actually planned to use a puppet, but Burt Reynolds really wanted it to look more real, so he actually went down the waterfall, injuring himself badly in the process. In retrospect, the star regretted this scene not only because of his injuries, but also because in the finished film, you couldn't even tell if it was a puppet or a human being sitting in the canoe. These were the 10 most violent scenes that actors later regretted. Write us in the comments for which scene you can best understand the remorse. Like this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe to Wonderlane for more interesting content, and until next time, here at Wonderlane.